This is Bob74H back with another video today. Today I'll be talking about why invasive species are a good thing. I'm not saying this insofar as it's good for the native population or insofar as it's good as far as conservation is concerned. I'm clearly talking about this from a perspective of, I guess, naturalism. And just kind of like the double standards of it all. I don't think the beneficiary should be on the humanity to decide if a species is allowed to live or die. I don't think we should play God in that sense. Nor do I think that people have the necessary power to do what they're trying to propose. I'll go over the first reason. I don't think you have, a God complex or God situation to determine if you have the right to say if an animal is allowed to live or die on this property. Right? Like if you want to go and say, well, this animal should live, this animal should die, it's so subjective too. Well, this animal shouldn't be allowed. It's an invasive species. This is so fucking ironic. All you fucking white people. I'm white too, but I don't care. The point being I'm trying to make here, all you fucking white people didn't originally belong here. We came here and conquered it from the native inhabitants that were here, the Native Americans, the Indians, Redskins, whatever the fuck you want to call them, whatever name you want to designate to that group of people, whatever you're calling them, you took the land from them and invaded it. So if we're going by the logic of invasive species, aren't we also invasive species? And the problem with trying to stop invasive species too is you can't regulate every single person who wants to release their pets into the wild. That's the first thing. And second thing is, there's no possible way to track down and hunt every single animal unless you have a GPS on every single animal. Unless you have like a tracker on every single animal, there's no way to do it. There's even cases where people have tried to hunt down animals and murder every single one of them just to find out years later that there was like a population hiding in secret. Or there was cases where there was populations of animals that were thought to have been extinct, not by hunting or not by extermination, but they were just thought to have died a long time ago, and they actually didn't. The example is Calliophith, that one species of ancient fish. They were thought to have died a long time ago, but they didn't. You just can't track these things, right? Let's say you think you murdered all those red-eared sliders. And then years later, you're like, wow, there's a red-eared slider. That could be because someone released an extra one you're not aware of. Or it could be that they're continuing to reproduce in an area that you haven't checked before. Like, let's go for an example in Canada and America. Let's say you, scratched down 97% of Canada and America, and you got rid of all those red-eared sliders, all those goldfish. What in that area? Well, in that 5% you didn't check, you could have the biggest population of those animals ever. And the thing is about these extra populations, it gives these species extra chances to reproduce. It gives them greater population numbers and greater effectiveness against fighting humanity. Humanity is the biggest threat against animal kind right now. And if these species are successfully thriving in these environments, that's a good thing for animals. It might not be good for, some of the natives, but it evens out. We have a great population of these animals, and they are thriving, they are doing well. That is a good thing. Of course, I don't think other species should go extinct at the behest of those, at the behest and benefit of those animals. But I don't think we should play God either and be like, well, smite down these other ones. Besides, it's not even possible. Like I said, there's always going to be a nook on. There's going to be a nook that you can't get into, a cranny that you can't find. You know, you can't. You will not be able to find every nook and cranny and exterminate every single animal. Just not possible. There's always going to be an area that is not going to be found or looked at. Maybe some backwater town or some rural area you never thought of. There's always going to be that area. And there's nothing you can do about that. Because there's only so many people that will, help you do this. It's purposeless in the end, too. And of course, you could say me saying this is purposeless because I won't change anybody's mind. But that's the fun of the internet, I guess, And here's the thing too. You could say there's a contradiction here, and you could be like, well, you're saying the animals shouldn't survive at the benefit at the expense of other species, and it's like, yes, that's true, but we shouldn't also exterminate other species because it's harming them. Like, this is stupid. Like, this is like saying we should exterminate all humans because we're harming other animals. Obviously, that's not the best course of action here. Would you say it's okay to exterminate all humans because humans harm animals? Obviously not. So, like, why should we apply that same logic to, like, species like goldfish and red-eared sliders or whatever, who objectively do far less damage than humans and are far less invasive than humans? You know? And then again, too, like I said, it's physically impossible to find every single specimen. It's possible you can get a majority, but you're never going to find every single one. Especially when they live in the water. And they're not in areas you can actively just chop down and dig every cranny out of. And even if you do that, they can move, right? Like, they have legs, like turtles at it. Or something else, right? And even like a plant. Like, there just might be an area you didn't think to check. It just seems like such the hassle to, like, look for every single specimen and murder it. It just seems so barbaric, too. It's like, if anything, we should be happy these species are succeeding. And it's like, but what if it gets too far, like ants or rats? It's like, I don't even think ants or rats have gone too far. Maybe you could say they have, but it's like, if ants and rats have gone too far, I don't know what you think about humans.